What is going on, everybody? It's Yesif here, coming to you with a kit reveal for the Raddus. In my previous video, I kind of talked about some of the units that you're going to need to get the Raddus, and that gets explained in this video as well. So please make sure you hit that like, subscribe button, finish this video, and check out the next one, and you'll understand. So before we get into this, let's talk about this Raddus. Highlights: destroys enemy capital ship with the Holdo Maneuver. Right off the top, putting at the very front. I saw this, super excited. I don't know if you guys can tell, I'm like giddy as a kid on Christmas right now, because I feel like this is awesome. They called it the Holdo Maneuver. I'm so excited. Natural, strong synergy with the resistant ships, and grants allies robust survivability with deflector shields. So starting down with this basic ability of Ace Maneuver, grants target ally 20% turn meter foresight for 2 turns and is called to assist. If the assisting ally is resistance, expose the target enemy for 2 turns and it can't be evaded or resistance. So she doesn't do any damage herself, but she calls in her allies to help do that damage for her, putting that foresight on, which will then help her abilities. Recharge deflectors with a 3-turn cooldown. Target ally gains tenacity up and deflector shields for 2 turns and 50% turn meter. So 50% turn meter can be huge. Kind of get that boost of turn meter at the right moment. Gonna be good. Deflector shields is new. At the start of your turn, recover 25 protection, doubled for resistance allies, and gain foresight for 2 turns and can't be copied. Immediately when I saw recover 25% protection, I thought Houndstooth. If you get Houndstooth with the Raddus, 25 protection every turn on a 3-turn cooldown, or for 2 turns on a 3-turn cooldown, that's 1 turn that you don't have it applied. It's going to be awesome. I'm excited about the potential for deflector shields with Houndstooth. I'm super excited. Special 2 is Outlast, cooldown of 4, dispel all debuffs on all allies. All allies gain protection up 20% for 2 turns, recover 50% protection and 20% turn meter. All resistance allies gain deflector shields for 2 turns. So Outlast plus deflector shield, you're recovering 75% protection plus 25% turn meter and 20% protection up. This sounds crazy survivable. I feel like if these fleets are done correctly, they're going to be hard to kill unless you have massive offensive output. And finally, the Holdo Maneuver. Here we go. Final text is: no enemy capital ship is present at the start of the battle. This ability can't be used. Dispel all debuffs on all allies and they gain 100% turn meter, inflict healing immunity and buff immunity on all enemies for 2 turns. Sacrifice the Raddus and destroy enemy capital ship, and call a random reinforcement if able. This ability can't be evaded, starts on cooldown, and is reduced by 1 each time a resistance ally with foresight uses a special ability. So unfortunately, there's only 3 resistance. Currently 3 resistance fleets are ships: Ray's Millennium Falcon, Poe's X-Wing, and Resistance X-Wing. But the fact that each time they gain foresight, they use a special, it reduces cooldown. You have the potential to get that cooldown to 4 or 5 fairly quickly, based on top of the additional turns that you have with the Holdo. So I am super excited about this ship. For unique 1, stay the course. Resistance allies deal 40% more damage and have 75% max protection at the start of battle. Resistance allies gain deflector shields and critical hit immunity for 2 turns. Whenever a resistance ally loses foresight, they gain evasion up and protection up for 20% for 2 turns. So again, going back to my previous comment, my previous statement, this fleet, if done correctly, is going to be hard to kill, in my opinion, if you don't have massive offense output. When the Raddus uses Holdo Maneuver, grant all allies advantage tenacity up and deflector shields for 2 turns. I think I already said that. And then the reinforcement bonus, gain stealth for 3 turns. If the reinforcement was resistance, they gain deflector shields for 2. So again, that deflector shield at 25 or 50%, excuse me, for being a resistance, protection up and foresight for 2 turns. Huge, huge, huge. This ship, this fleet, again, if I might be wrong, 100% might be wrong. I'm not a genius. I am kind of new at the whole strategy and getting together all my fleets and all my squads, trying to learn that synergy, making things jive. But I have a feeling this fleet is going to be huge on defense, if not taking, if you don't have the offensive output for it. So I'm going to switch over to the developer insights for the Raddus. I'm going to kind of skip the basics because I covered them in the last one. Quick synopsis: resistance fleet commander, supporting role, a lot of foresight, a lot of deflector shields, and she does not deal direct damage herself. Unique ability is she can sacrifice herself. Again, I'm smiling, I'm giddy, because the fact that they brought in the Holdo Maneuver to sacrifice her ship. I think can speak for a majority of the population, or majority of the people that play this game, that said if they did not come out with the Raddus with this maneuver, it was terrible. Would I prefer to Leia to come out for this ship? Absolutely, but I think that they made up for that with this Holdo Maneuver. So their inspiration is they wanted to kind of touch on that last moment that Holdo saved the resistance, allowed them to get away from the First Order, and they brought that into the game with this ship and this her ability for that. And they wanted to improve the resistance ships in game by giving them utility in Grand Arena and Territory War, because I don't think anybody used them except for myself when I first got Poe's ship, because it was Poe. I was super excited, and then I realized that it wasn't really that great for me. You want to focus on reducing the long cooldown of the ultimate. Luckily, with the foresight up on almost everything, the deflector shield and foresight for the resistance allies, getting that ability to reduce the cooldown does not seem as hard as it might be. But again, with only 3 resistant ships, it's going to take some time. And with the natural cooldown, so we'll say after your first full round of abilities, you have 2 resistant ships out there. Reduce that cooldown to 8 by the time she hits her turn. That's 7. Call it another resistance ship. And have it use its ability, you can get it to 6. So right off the top, at end of turn 1, in theory, you can have the cooldown reduced to 6. That's if my math is correct. It's a little late for me, so that's very possible that it's not. Ray's Millennium Falcon is a key part of the damage output of this fleet. You want to make sure you put as many buffs on Ray's Falcon before you use a special one to deal as much damage as possible. Deflector shields are a great way to keep your ships alive while stacking buffs on the Falcon and reducing the Raddus' ultimate cooldown. So one thing, I'm not going to talk about all these special interactions. One thing I am going to kind of highlight, 2 things actually, is deflector shields can't be copied, but they can be dispelled and prevented, which is kind of disappointing and kind of saddening, but I feel like that is probably a smart move to try to counter all of the buffs that the Holdo and the Raddus are going to be putting out. The Holdo Maneuver does not count as losing or destroying a ship in Grand Arena, meaning you will not earn or lose additional banners, and you can still get credit for a full squad win. That is huge. I am glad they added that in there, because I feel like some people might not have wanted to use this ship because you wouldn't get full banners in Grand Arena, but now it seems like you're going to be able to do this. So I'm excited for this. So their fleet suggestions: obvious resistance ships, Falcon or Ray's Falcon, Poe's X-Wing, resistance X-Wing, and then they talk about Houndstooth for a tank. So I'm glad I'm thinking like them. With the protection up on Houndstooth sounded amazing to me. The Ebon Hawk for dealing the Massive Spell, and then Lando's Millennium Falcon for additional turns for all the previous allied ships called in during the battle. So I'm excited for the potential that this ship has. I'm excited to see people that get the ship and are able to utilize it not only in Fleet Arena but Grand Arena as well. I am personally going to try to work on getting my Holdo up and getting my resistance ships up to try to get the ship, because if nothing else, I want to be able to use the Holdo Maneuver in a couple of my battles, just because I think the ability itself looks amazing, if not a little long, but still looks amazing. I'm just excited for the Resistance. I'm excited to see what they come out for the First Order with the Finalizer. I'm excited. CG hasn't really done a lot, hasn't really put out a lot other than these Galactic Legends, but now I feel like they're starting to give us a little bit more, and I'm excited about what's coming. I hope you are as well, and until next time, have a good one.